you going, boys? Mike here. Welcome back to Grampie's workshop. Hey, guess what this is? It's a fuel dolly. I want to put a shelf up here. So that's what we're up to today. Let's get at it. So I want to put a shelf in here, and this is the highest gas can I have, and it's got the fuel pump on the top of it. So as long as my shelf is higher than that, everything should be just jammed in. I like the shelf to be as wide as the handlebars are wide, so that's 16 inches. The shelf, should be 7 inches, ought to be plenty. All right, so if that's the case now, what I need to do is find some material to make a little shelf bracket. And I think what I'm going to do is make it long enough so that it'll come back like to the back of this handle here, so I can use these holes to secure the shelf. So I have some smart panel here, parts left over, so I'm going to use this as the shelf because it's got a nice durable finish on it, I think. So let's cut some up. Alright, I'm going to make the perimeter of this shelf out of this 1x3 that I had. So I need a couple of pieces 19 inches long and a couple of them 9 inches long. Okay, now that I have some stock to work with, we can start laying out how we're actually going to frame around that the shelf. I'm going to put these 1x3s around the top shelf as a perimeter, but I want to put a dado in there so I can put the shelf in the dado to support the shelf. So what that means is the bottom of this is going to be maybe at the bottom of that second hole, right? So that should be good. Plus, I want this to be level, or more or less level, so I'm just going to eyeball that. That looks pretty level to me. And then I'm going to put a mark across here at the back. And then that should be the angle that I need to cut this and the other side so that I can mount those so that these pieces will come flush with the back of the handle. And then I can use this hole and this hole to support the shelf. I hope. Okay, so there's the side pieces for the shelf installed, and like I say, just cut them on an angle, drill a couple of holes and some carriage bolts in each one to hold them in place. Now I need to put a piece across the front and across the back, and then cut dados in them and put the bottom in. Okay, what I want to do is cut a rabbet here and a dado here so I can set my pieces into the edges to finish making the perimeter. So just by making multiple cuts with a straight cutting blade, you can make yourself a rabbet. I'm just going to clean this up a bit. And then hopefully this piece will fit in here. And that's the way that's going to go together. Now I'll make a dado here and then do the same on the other piece, on the other side. So there's my frame, and that'll box. Now I need to cut at the bottom of the frame. I need to cut another dado in here to receive my base that I made for the bottom. So to start with, I set my fence 1/4 of an inch away from the blade, and I reset the height of the blade to cut about halfway through my piece. So I have to now identify which is going to be the top, I think, because that's a rough spot. This will be the top, and this will be the inside. So I want to cut my dado right on that surface, and then this one, I guess it doesn't really make much difference on this surface. Okay, and these dados can be cut right straight through, right? So we're going to cut those. And now, before I make a change in the thickness or the position of the fence to make this dado wider, I want to cut the dados in these side pieces so that they'll all be the same height. But these ones are trickier to cut because I can't make a through dado on this because this has to be solid. So I made a couple of witness marks here on my fence. So I want the dado on this piece to be down here, and on this piece I want it to be on this side. So that means they get run through the saw differently. So this one, because I don't want to come through on this end, that means I'll be through like almost that far before I need to stop it. So this witness mark here is where I'll stop. So I'll just run it through until I get to that mark and then stop, lift it off, and hopefully I won't cut into this heel part. And then on this one, because I'll be cutting it the opposite direction, I have to do almost like a plunge cut to start with. So I'll set up on this witness mark, set up right like this, and very carefully then drop the piece onto the blade and then cut through the end. So a little trickier, but it still can be done. Let's try it. This is the side I want to cut. I'm going to stop there. So I made a little bit of a cut into the heel, but that's okay. Now this one has a little trickier, has to do a plunge cut. Once more, I kind of cut into that a little bit, but hey, you got to give a little to get a little, right? So now, my dado here has to be 3/8 of an inch, so I'm going to move the saw over. The saw blade cuts about 1/8 at a time, so I'll move it over another 1/8. And then we'll repeat the process. Then if you're lucky enough to have a thin chisel, like this is the 1/4 inch one, so that'll work. We break out the waste that's left in here. That's enough just to see if this is going to fit, and it fits with lots of room to spare, so that's going to be all right. So there's my frame. Now what I need to do is cut this smart panel to fit in there. So because these pieces they go from one end to the other, this is how long I need my smart panel to be. Okay, so now we're going to cut this off here. And now this should fit, if I measured everything right, this should fit right in here. Something like that. What I need to do now is mark here how wide I need it. So I'm going to have to rip this again, so we'll do that. So this should fit in here now. And then this piece should go across the front. And there we have it. All the joints seem tight. And before I glue it up, let's just go back over to the handle and see how well this fits on the handle. Okay, let's just see. Here's my box. Rough, dry assemble. Let's see if it fits. Oh yeah, fits on there pretty good, eh? Okay, to start with, I'm going to assemble this with some glue. That goes in there like so. Now we can slide the base in. I'm not going to put any glue on the base, I don't think it needs it. And then we'll put some glue here. And here. And then we'll put some glue on the end of this piece here and here. And then we should be able to put this piece in here, like so, with a couple of brads. You know what, I'm even going to put a couple in this way just because. Alright, there we have it. So this is going to fit on here, and it's a little bit snug, but that's alright, that's what we want. I'd rather it be snug than loose. And then we'll just snug these up. That's a boss shelf, if you ask me. So there's my shelf installed on the dolly. It's pretty nice too, good and solid. And I know I promised that this was going to be the episode where all the excitement would happen and the mystery would be like solved or explained. Well, I'm sorry it took me so long to get that shelf installed. So I'm going to have to make another episode. It's going to be some exciting. Don't miss the next and final episode. And what's going to go on this shelf? Is it going to be red? Is it going to be blue? Is it going to be Massey Ferguson signs? You're going to have to tune in and find out. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget, leave me some comments if you get a chance. Thumbs up me. And have yourselves a great week. We'll talk to you soon.